Today I am playing with Victrola VI, 498746, 1920. This one was actually a special request by a customer of mine. He wanted a later style Victrola VI. I just happened to have a nice one like this that needed to be gone through. And let's see. The wood didn't need much in the way of cleaning. You know, I did the basic cotton cleanser and polished it up, and it's just fine. It really wasn't horribly dirty. I suspect it may have been cleaned before. I don't know. I had to put a new felt on because the felt was missing. Don't know why, but it wasn't there. Let's see, what else was bad? We had the governor. The weights had blown off and disappeared. So I had to replace that from the parts supply. Not a big deal. I got governor bodies lying around. I got plenty of new springs and weights and little screws and whatever I need. Took care of that. The usual motor service has been done. Had a lot of scrubbing on this one. This is a filthy motor, let me tell you. It's a ingrained black graphite grease. It's just been on there, baked on. It's like they literally slathered it on there and stuck it in the oven for like 20 hours at 400 degrees. So I managed to scrape that off eventually. It took a lot of Brillo and a lot of elbow and a lot of solvents. Got it off there. It's all clean now. Let's see, the springs. This originally had two 9-foot springs, which is normal for the 6. It's what they come with. They weren't horrible, but you can see that they're not really sprung out too much. I mean, they're originals. They've been there, and yeah, they'll probably play a record and a half or so. But I put two brand new 17-foot springs in this. Now that's something you can do with these later style. When they went to the 1¼ thick spring, 2 1¼ springs from the original motors, like I think up to 1914 or 1915, they were 1 inch thick. And you really can't get those that I know of anyway in 17-foot length. And when they went to 1.25 rather wide, 2 1/4 wide springs, now you can upgrade them to what the Victrola 9, the Victrola 11, that's what they use. You know, that was the Victor thing. The more money you paid them, the longer the springs got. The point of a longer spring, one, more power in the motor to push through worn records. Not that that was a concern in 1920 when all the records were new pretty much. But it also means you don't have to get up as much to wind it up. You know, you might get 5 plays out of one wind. But with the worn records we have today, I'm thinking it's probably more like 3.5 to 4. But, you know, that was the whole point behind that. And I do that on any machine that I'm going to keep, any 6 or 8 that I'm going to keep for myself that has the improved motor, which this does. Being 1920, this has the improved motor with the springs, have the hooked end on the outside and bent end on the inside. So those are really easy to deal with. They're easy to get. They're not what are they, $50 a piece, something like that. They're not that hard to come by, so why not do it? And I did it for this gentleman because I know he's a collector who's going to play this machine, and that would be an added bonus for him. And they just kind of needed it anyway. I mean, look, they're kind of a limp noodle. When they don't fight you coming out of the barrel, you kind of know that you're dealing with a weak side spring, you know. If they fight you, then they're pretty good. Then they still got something left in them. But these really didn't put up a fight at all, so they'll be used or sold or whatever for some other project some other time. What else was? That was it. That was pretty. There was some hardware missing. For some reason, the felt washers between the motor board and the motor were missing. I replaced those with new. I have them in stock. I make those myself. Little rubber bumpers under there have been replaced. All the wood was nice shape. I had to glue 1 or 2 loose spots. I think the top was coming loose here a little bit. Stupid stuff like that. Nothing of any concern, really. And I had to replace the knobs. It had incorrect knobs on it. You see that a lot because the knob falls off somewhere. You go to the hardware store, you get the closest thing you could find, and you replace it. And now it's at the, obviously, it has a number 2 reproducer. This machine may have come with the number 2. Not really sure in 1920. The number 2 was introduced in 1919, and it was pushed heavily by Victor dealers as an upgrade for older machines or newer ones that came from the factory with an exhibition. If you wanted to pay a little bit more of your 4 or your Victrola 6, we'll give you a Victrola 2 reproducer, number 2. All right, we're going to play some records on here now just to test the motor And the reproducer I know is good. That's been tested already. But now I came across something, because I'm going through a pile of some 200, 300 records a friend of mine found at various flea markets down south, and he brought up for me when he came up to visit recently. I've been grabbing a pile off of that stack and just testing them as I'm going through these machines. I found a record. It's Henry Burr. It is number 18763-A, Held Fast in a Baby's Arms. But what is so special about this record that I've never run across before is that it does appear to be autographed by the artist. Now, I looked online to some autographed photographs of Henry Burr. This does, in fact, look like his signature. I think this is a legit autographed record by Mr. Henry Burr. Amazing. Really is amazing to me. I've never seen that before. And I know my buddy missed that. He didn't notice it. He probably just saw writing, thought it was the owners. He never put two and two together. So he's gonna flip when I tell him about this later. And it's not on both sides, obviously, just the one. There were a few other Henry Burr records with this. They were not autographed. This one is. So that is definitely a keeper. I mean, it's not 20s jazz, but, it's not something I'm going to listen to a lot, but it is something that I am going to. Let me wipe the dust off that. That was from me a minute ago with that rag. We will play it. I mean, it's autographed. We have to play it. That is so cool. Come on, get on there.
Right where his cradle stands.
That played really well. It's just, I'm happy about, given that it is an autographed record. All right, let's be careful with that autographed record now and not screw it up. Alrighty. Let's get another needle on there. Come on. And let's see what we got next in the pile. Well, the motor seems pretty good. She's keeping speed. No fluctuations. No weird noises. That's good. That's what I want after it's been serviced. But you never really know until you spin. I could not run this motor before I took it apart, obviously, because it was in pieces. But, you know, the governor was all apart. But it's nice to see that it is actually working. Let's see, the American Quartet, Alabama Bound. That one played well too. Alabama Bound. Oh, wrong way. Let's flip that over and see what the American Quartet has for us on the other side. As soon as I get a little needle out. Let's not stab myself. Always an important consideration. Okay. Get that record a quick wipe down, get the dust off it. It's always a little bit. And side B is All Aboard for Heaven. And this one is actually George Price. Billy Rose, Joseph Mayer, George Price.
constantly. Husky, dusty, rain man, you are just a plain man. But when you shout those stations loud, you're like an angel to me. They sound like heaven, heaven, all aboard for heaven, all aboard for home, sweet home. Heaven, heaven, train on track 11. Come on, you rolling stone, step on it, Casey Jones. Sugar is sweet, but mother sweet. Right at the gate, you're gonna meet her like St. Peter. Heaven, heaven, all aboard for heaven, all aboard for home, sweet home. I wanna see poor little me climb into my upper berth. I wanna feel each little wheel going for all that it's worth. Open up my eyes on Dixie's fair horizon. I know I'll find my peace of mind back in that heaven on earth. I'll be in heaven, heaven, all aboard for heaven, all aboard for home, sweet home. Heaven, heaven, train on track 11. Don't mind your upper berth, you know what mother's worth. Someone is waiting to reward ya. Look at the sweetest gal in Georgia, coming toward ya. Heaven, heaven, all aboard for heaven, all aboard for home, sweet home. Hear that engine puffing as you're leaving New York. Passing through the tunnel, you're too happy to talk. Mr. Engineer, don't stop at Jersey. It don't mean a thing, I said it don't mean a thing. Go to sleep at Baltimore, and when you arise, every blade of grass will be as blue as the skies. You'll be climbing up the golden stairway. When you look into your mother's eyes, you're up in heaven, heaven, all aboard for heaven. We're showing heaven now. Yes, sir, I'm going to tell you something maybe that you don't know. And I'm going to tell you now. And guess what, dear? That sugar is sweet, but mother sweeter. Right after today, I'm going to meet her like St. Peter. Heaven, heaven, woo-hoo, all aboard for heaven, all aboard for home, sweet home.
Playing like it's 1920. Starting to get a little warm and humid. Well, it was humid. Now it's just getting warm. Probably be near 90 later on. That's why I started on this early in the morning. Beat the heat. There's really no fun scrubbing things with solvents and everything else in high temperatures. Let's get a new needle on there. Let's see what the next record's got for us. So far, the motor has been performing flawlessly. Still a few little things I have to do to this. Some minor cleanup here and there. Nothing major. Let's see. Let's try the International Novelty Quartet with the Cuckoo Waltz. Cuckoo Waltz. Okay. One thing to remember if you hit one of these open top machines is that they do not have the dial on the speed control right there. So it is very important that you require either a stroboscope disc, which you use in conjunction with an old style incandescent light bulb to set the speed. They usually have instructions with them that you follow. Or you get an app on your cell phone for RPM. Record RPM, 7-8 RPM, record RPM, you know. Do that search, it'll probably kick up a few of them. And that is actually what I've been using. I have stroboscope disc, of course. Had it for years because I didn't always have a smartphone, and in the old days, that's what I used. And I find all I do is, my phone is actually, it's pretty heavy, so it doesn't, It's not likely to fly off the turntable. If your phone doesn't have a case on it and it's a little slick and it's a lightweight one, it might actually leave the turntable. So you have to be careful. But if you have a heavy enough phone and you have a kind of a rough, you know, a ballistic a case for the phone, so if you drop it, you don't instantly shatter it. Usually that'll hold on the felt, it'll stay on there, and you could set your RPM pretty precisely that way. And because you don't have a dial on this, you need to do that, because RPM changes. You know, friction leathers, they wear over time, you know, and RPM will change a little bit. And some records aren't meant to be played at 78, they might need to be played at 80. You know, you'd have to pay attention to that too. So in order on these types of machines to set the speed, you do need that app or you need the stroboscope disc. So you got to remember that if you have one of these. Now for me, it's pretty easy because I already have all that stuff, but I forgot to wind it. That is the thing when you have more power in these springs. I played a couple records before I started filming. I forgot to wind it. And this machine, you gotta wind it like 70 times. But it's very easy wind. So you can do it 2 fingers. That was the trade-off. For the easier wind, you're going to wind it more times than you will with the older ones where you wound it fewer times, but you had to put a little more effort into it. The gearing was different. And this is why they invented that little motor that they would sell that you could attach that did this for you. Okay, that's about 70 right there, I think. All right, it's the same record. We can still use the same needle. We're good. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that screw up. All right, let's get the dust off that. And see who's next. Land of the... Oh, wait, is there something on the other side of this? There's another one on the other side. Instrument Quartet, Lina. We'll try it. Why not? We got it here, right? Okay, let's get rid of that. Ow. And replace it with a new one. Come on. Come on out of there. Get in there. Okay, get her spinning up. Go. So far, so good. I will spin one more and then I will hang it up for the day because it's beginning to get hot. You start hearing all those heat noises in the background, the bugs and whatnot. Arthur Pryor's band, Land of the Maple. Military band, all right. Being it is the 4th, well, it's not really the 4th of July. It's July, what, 7th, I think? No, 4th. Yeah, it is July 7th. We are going to have the fireworks tonight, so why not some patriotic music? If that is... Oh, got to take the old one out before I put the new one in. That usually helps. get in there. All right. Well, I think I can confidently say now the motor is doing well. I'm obviously going to play a few more records on here and continue to test it a bit, do a little bit more cleanup, and then it will be ready for its new home and its new owner to be played. One thing I have a lot of is sixes, quite a few actually. Pretty popular machine in its time, and it's probably the second most commonly encountered phonograph at flea markets and tag sales and all of that, because they sold so many of them back in the day. The first would probably be the 4, I would think, a little 4. And then you got the Victrola 9, which is everywhere. The Victrola 11, again, really common to find out in the wild. What's not common is finding one that's this clean. That's a really clean machine. You know, it wasn't with 15 layers of nicotine on it and rat turds ground into it, anything like that. It was really clean, good shape. Obviously was well kept by whatever family owned it and not relegated to some dark corner of the basement or the attic or the shed or the barn like so many of them were. I mean, it's possible to bring those back too, but it just takes a lot more work. And it's a very nice machine, so this will last somebody generations of use yet. And now the motor's been fully serviced. This is not the reproducer that will be finally on here. I have another number 2 for that that's just waiting for me to rebuild it, which I will do later. Fairly straightforward job for me to do, so. But I wanted to get the motor test done on this to make sure once I have it back together that I don't need to start swapping around gears because it's too noisy or something breaks, you know, or something doesn't hold. I want to find that out now, not, you know, later on when I have it all together and the reproducer's rebuilt and I'm doing final testing and the new owner is on the way for it. You know, so that's why we do things in advance. We test everything up, Make sure it's working like it should. It also is good to disperse the grease around in the motor. The more you play it, the grease gets dispersed properly on the gears. It mixes up in the spring barrel very nice. So you want to do that too before the new owner takes it. All right, that's it for this one. And if anybody was curious, this is, what number is this? 498746. So did I say that before? I forget. I might have. Victrola the 6th.